Hi class, my name is Jason Wilson, and I have decided to analyze and critique an article regarding the history, motivations, and economics pertaining to online crime. Okay, especially as it affects people internationally. The article is entitled The Economics of Online Crime, and the authors are Tyler Moore, Richard Clayton, and Ross Anderson. It is from the Journal of Economic Perspectives, Volume 23, Number 3. It was written in the summer of 2009 and is around 19 pages long. I must say that reading the article sort of forced me to view problem solving from a new perspective. Generally, when we think about online malicious activity, we are quick to dehumanize the origins and create an abstract view, okay, of a kind of sort of good versus evil, us versus them, and this leads to a lack of understanding. Okay, in economics, we recognize that people act out of their rational self-interest in the pursuit of increasing their utility by weighing the marginal benefit against the marginal cost. And so by creating or by relating the issue of online crime to the economic perspective, the authors do a pretty good job of explaining the economic motivations of both the criminals, and the organizations who attempt to protect against these criminals. Now, ultimately, the purpose of this article is to get to the root of the problem, the lack of motivation of big businesses to coordinate and stop phishing. Uh, and phishing is kind of just the stealing of information online due to compromised web systems, and to explain why this exists, why this is, and to offer alternatives that would still benefit these big companies financially. Okay, an overarching thesis of the article is that society has simply not caught up yet to increasingly new technology, and that, given the right economic aid and push, we can administer the right governmental regulations. So let's get into the actual article. The authors included a lengthy abstract at the beginning, explaining the origins of online crime, relating it to older versions of crime, as well, and explaining that the focus of the paper will be on the economic motives of the various parties involved. It is followed by two main sections of information containing a few tables and graphs, and then a very short conclusion. Now, there are both things I like and things I dislike about the overall format of the article, starting with the pros. Okay, I feel that the information progresses very logically. I liked that the beginning explained the history and the motivations for online crime, followed by an academic list of issues and possible solutions for these issues. Now, for the cons. Okay. I did feel that the abstract information were a bit long. The information in the introduction was around 1/4 of the entire article. Also, because the article is focusing on the economics behind online crime, I would have liked to see more data, more graphs. In the entire article, there were only 2 graphs and 2 tables. So, while the article often refers to numerical statistics from these figures, I felt that the voice was more social, more societal, rather than economical or, numerical. Okay, all this kind of said, I would also like to critique individual sections within the article, starting with the accurate information section. For the most part, I felt that the information here was pertinent to the main discussion. I agree with the authors that companies try to skew their reports on security failures in order to increase respect and therefore demand from their customers. This makes sense from the perspective of wanting to increase their utility. The only problem I have with this section is a part taken from a 2008 study by another author, in which a firm hacked into a spam system to try to figure out the percent of people that fall susceptible to false pharmaceutical advertising. The authors don't seem to list what time of day or what time of year the experiment was done, or even if there were multiple trials. Um, I feel that this could thus be an error of interpretation because of kind of the incomplete, maybe not even incomplete, but the lack of explaining the trials done to get to the conclusion they did in this specific part of the article. Other than that small disagreement, I otherwise am very satisfied with the information the article provides, and I feel more enlightened about the issues we face with fighting online crime. I would like to go through some of the problems discussed in the following sections with you guys. The article talks about how ISPs, internet service providers, aren't always super quick to invest in online crime because it is a weakest link sort of problem. In other words, if one provider cracks down on perpetrators, those perpetrators will just go to another company. Okay, it's the weakest link. But I agree with the article that the amount of money spent on extra security precautions in the long run will be less than the tech spent for the continuous security-related support calls from fearful consumers. Another good point made was that takedown firms, those who are in the business of putting online perpetrators out of business, compete against each other. They don't want to share information with each other because they use their feed comprehensiveness, okay, the amount of information they have that's unique to the other companies, as a sales point. I agree with the article, though, that the marginal benefit of utilizing this competitive edge does not, in this case, outweigh the marginal cost of having millions of people with information at risk. Sharing their found information and forming a comprehensive database would then lead to economic competition in other areas, like the speed of removal, or the price at which they provide the service. Okay, now going back to the idea of rational self-interest. The article talks about how only malicious websites that directly affect large businesses like banks and their customers are quickly removed. The other sites that are not directly applicable to the business are not pursued by multi-million-dollar corporations, or at least not with the same attentiveness. The same goes for local law enforcement officers, who only look towards the number of attacks in their local community, overlooking the aggregate effects of the crime that occurs worldwide. Now, I believe that the article is suggesting the importance of viewing online crime from a macroeconomic lens, viewing the aggregate economic problems that this fraud creates. And we certainly are not there yet, or this article wouldn't exist. We wouldn't need this article to educate us if we didn't have a problem. Okay, feel free to let me know what you guys think about this topic, and if you agree or disagree with my analysis. The link to the article should be posted on the discussion page, so feel free to comment. Thanks.